Jose Luis for his intervention.
Good morning. I am pleased to participate in this International Bar Association webinar on investment in Latin America and the rule of law. Thanks to the organizers for their invitation, especially to Juan Carlos de los Heros, managing partner at Estudio Checopar, associated with Baker & McKenzie International. A recent report of the G30 asks, why does Latin America underperform? It points out the failure of the region to validate the convergence hypothesis. This postulates that underdeveloped countries tend to grow more rapidly than and catch up with developed countries, since they only need to copy and paste. In the last 60 years, Eastern European and Asian countries have validated. However, Latin America keeps lagging. Since the G30 includes central bankers, it is puzzled by this situation. In the last 30 years, several Latin American countries have had sound macroeconomic policies. Also, many have opened their markets, leaving behind the protectionist policies of recent decades. Nonetheless, the living standards of Latin America keeps moving away from the one of the US. Latin America shows that monetary stability and open markets are not enough to attract investment. An investment decision combines expected profitability and uncertainty. Therefore, the rule of law plays a central part in such a decision. The rule of law checklist by the Venice Commission includes legality, legal certainty, prevention of abuse of power, equality before the law, and access to justice. In the World Justice Project Rule of Law Index, Uruguay, Costa Rica, and Chile are the only Latin American countries that get approval. Brazil and Mexico, the largest Latin American economies, obtained 49 and 42 points over 100. Thus, they failed the test. My country, Peru, gets a similar score to the one of Brazil. The region includes Venezuela, which has the worst score in the world, 26 over 100. In this index, Eastern European and Asian countries show better results. Among the first ones, Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia stand out, reaching similar scores to the ones of Western European countries. Among the second ones, Singapore and South Korea tied up with Japan. However, as the G30 report comments, the difference is not big enough to explain sufficiently the poor economic performance of Latin America. More explanatory power lies in the country risk premium of the region. Such a premium reflects the uncertainty of the political process. Not only Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua are under communist dictatorships. Also, several other Latin American countries are run by radical leftists, including Petro in Colombia, Lula in Brazil, and AMLO in Mexico. What investments can they get? Yet, correctly, the G30 report says the political problem of Latin America goes beyond its leaders. The political structure of our countries is seriously flawed, since it combines a presidential system of government with legislators elected with proportional representation. This mix compromises governance and opens the door to anti-system demagogues. In a presidential system, the voter can split the ballot, i.e., vote for one party for Congress and another for the executive. In a parliamentary one, this cannot occur, since the voter only has one vote. In such a system, ministers necessarily have the support of parliament. So, presidential systems work only to the extent that the legislature is elected with a majoritarian electoral system, which reduces the number of parties. That is the case in the US. There, the president's party frequently does not have most of the congressional seats, but it is close to having it. In Latin America, not only the absolute number of parties in Congress is high, in Peru 12, in Chile 22, in Brazil 25. Additionally, the relative participation in the seats is dispersed. In Peru, the two main parties combined only have 26% of the total. According to the G30 report, between 2000 and 2022, Peru ranked third in GDP annual average growth in Latin America, following only Panama and the Dominican Republic. However, Peru has faced deep political problems since 2016, when it elected a president whose party had only 16% of the congressional seats. Such a president resigned in early 2018, and in the following 5 years, Peru changed presidents 5 times. Political conflict is not circumscribed to the elected powers. It has overflowed to the judiciary. With the support of some NGOs and media, some public prosecutors have used their powers against their ideological or political imaginary rivals. Blinded by their passions, they prepare the fields for a government with sympathies for terrorism. Luckily, its radicalism was tied to its ineptitude, and Peru overcame it rapidly. So these experiences show that the rule of law materializes only where some political conditions are met. It requires a political structure that enables cooperation rather than conflict. Party systems defined as either an ordered alternation of parties in power or a legislature with little fragmentation are indispensable, since only through them a combination of competition and long-term interests can be reached. Thus, to converge, Latin American countries have to make serious political reforms. They have to have either a parliamentary system of government or a majoritarian electoral system. I believe the latter option is better than the former, since both geographically and culturally we are closer to the US than to Europe. However, such reform has requirements difficult to fulfill. The recent history of Chile, the most successful Latin American country of the last 3 decades, is eloquent. Between 1989 and 2016, it elected its congressman in binominal districts. This brought political stability to the country. However, in 2017, Chile replaced it with proportional representation. Immediately, polarization followed the consequent fragmentation. Last year, Chile was on the verge of having a constitution that would have destroyed all its remarkable accomplishments. Happily, it was rejected by a qualified majority of citizens. Yet, Chilean recovery is far from ending. In the last 4 years, Chile has descended 19 positions in the Fraser Institute's Economic Freedom Ranking. Self-destructive tendencies run deep in the region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jose Luis, for Once again, also sticking to time, and I'm amazed at just how punctual every one of you is today. Thank you for that.